Never painted before.
Never?
Not really. I don't believe. I've probably like done like watercolor or something like that. I've never painted with oil. I really, growing up in like a military family, when you go to elementary school, you go to a lot of different elementary schools, and so they teach you a lot of the same shit because like the curriculums are different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned a lot of redundant stuff and did really well in school growing up because like it was like, oh, we're going over multiplication, and then I'd move to school to the next year, and I'm in 4th grade instead of 3rd grade now, and it's now they're like, oh, and now we're learning multiplication, and it's like, well, I already learned that. So, and same with like art classes. Like some schools I go to, you didn't even have an art class, and some schools I go to and you did, and then we'd be doing the same shit we did. And that art class, like obviously I've painted like the turkey of my hand for Thanksgiving, but like beyond that, not really anything.
Mm.
I like doing this stuff because I don't know if it's in focus at all.
I like it.
Looks a little bit more suicide-y than I wanted it to. But, I don't know, maybe it's additive. this is also helpful for me so that it can prove that this isn't a cry for help.
Every time you say something that could be interpreted as sad, I pan up to your face so that I can project sadness onto you there. So,
so it's not super helpful?
no.
Oh, shit. I'm not sad making this at all. I think when I was in the mindset to make the saddest shit I've ever made, I made happy shit. I made, like, Poison Game and... Christ alive. Come on. I made, like, Poison Game and I made Happy 20th and stuff, and I was sort of like, oh, I was really depressed and all this shit. So I was like, I'll make this stuff that is happy, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the happier I've gotten with my life, the more I've gotten more friends like you, mostly just you, and like reconnected with older friends, like Colt, and I guess, yeah, Kurt's a new friend. He's not even an old friend, which he kind of sort of feels like he's an old friend because he reminds me so much of Colt. The more I've sort of this is interesting. The more I've been able to explore the sadder stuff without it like getting to me, you know? So I think if I explored all the sad stuff like that, then like it would have really gotten me. Like the audition, I was like, this is important. Some bullshit. And then when I was done with it and sort of separated from it enough, it made me really depressed because I was like, terrible. Now I can sort of like create these things, and I think this movie is less like I talked about wanting to call it like I'm reaching out, but like I think that on the surface that could come off as like a really depressing title, but to me, conceptually, the title is like that movies are letting me express shit that I couldn't express when I was sadder or didn't have movies in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm reaching out like, oh, I need you, I'm reaching out because I need you to take my hand, but rather like, I'm reaching out because I can. And I think that's interesting.
Me too.
I kind of want to leave this part untouched so that it's like, you know
Yeah.
what it was supposed to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did I ruin it, bro? Was the red good enough?
I like what you're doing.
I did too. How does Godard do it, man? Anything is fire.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. So this is supposed to be, I think, the first shot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this destroyed image of this picture.
Yeah.
And then ideally, that first shot, not that first shot I got, but that shot I got with this photo. It's the last shot, because it's a shot of me on my camcorder that it's a photo my mom took of me on my camcorder recording what will be the end of this movie.
Mm.
Which is like 5 minutes of us on this lazy river in Houston at this like country club my aunt goes to. That they like do this thing where in the lazy river at that country club. Every year they open it up to the public, and you can go in the lazy river, and there's Christmas lights all around, and so it's just me on my camcorder recording my family watching it.
Yeah.
And the lights. It's really cool. I showed that to you.
Yeah.
You loved it.
It's very cool.
I think it's some of the most interesting stuff I've got. It's really funny that I was like, I really want to make these movies that'll do well at festivals. And then I'm like, oh, I want to make slow cinema. Now, like, every project I've been making that I'm most interested in is like an experimental documentary.
Makes you think about the world.
I need those Ethan experimental documentaries, man. I started thinking about like shit that I see at a gallery, and those things always interest me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about no smoking, and I was like, oh, I want no smoking to be in a gallery, and I think it could be, but also a lot of the times the stuff you see at the galleries, which like we were talking about at the beginning of this, like, is like experimental documentaries.
Yeah.
And then that stuff just started, and then I've just like, I've never been super interested in like this mentality that you have that I really adore, but like for me, I've never done it, which is just like, you're always like, just shoot. And I always wonder, how do you do that? And the only time I'm interested in just shooting, like just doing something without planning it beforehand, is doing a documentary. This is the end of this one, I think.
Yeah.
This should be the most chaotic, least simplistic one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to cover up the edges.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any white spots anywhere.
How many are you painting?
I don't know. Some of them are much simpler and will be very quick. Like, there's one that I know I'm going to do that has, like, a Christmas tree on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That's why I said I have no clue how long this will take, because I wanted it to all be about the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? This is my last day here, and if we're just filming this and we're hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, take as long as we need. I'm gonna get this shot, by the way.
Okay.
While we talk about this. I was talking to my aunt recently about how my dream is that I can, not just what Richard Linklater did for Austin,
Yeah.
but just in general, be an artist and a creative in Houston. I've sort of slowly started realizing this is what I want to do. Is I want to be a creative in Houston where I can create a space to help independent artists get their art be seen.
Yes.
And the goal isn't, and specifically independent artists in Houston.
Yes.
And so I think that's really cool, this idea of like this channel where it's just like a collective group of things, where people's work can go. That's part of why I want to do a film festival and all this stuff. Is because